Hi, thanks for joining me for this week's quick business tip. Now, if you are starting to feel this like crisp in the air as we end Q3, but it's coming with that familiar feeling that's a little bit like the Sunday scaries for all of Q4, and you feel like there's pressure looming, this episode is for you because for a lot of businesses, that last quarter of this year can feel like everybody is screaming at you, hustle, crush your goals, finish strong, sprint to the end. But I feel like this is a recipe for burnout, and I've experienced it myself before. So today we are going to create a bit of an anti-hustle Q4 plan that still allows you to be incredibly productive, reach your sales goals, but still remain in that peace that you need as you go into November and December. By the end of this episode, you will have a simple framework for finishing your year strong, but not stressed. So before we build on this plan, we have to get really honest about the old one that we've probably all tried before. The typical toxic Q4 that's built on the myth, I'll rest in January. But it's a lie because this is the belief that you can and should completely empty your tank during the last 90 days of the year because there is this magical break waiting for you when next year starts. And this lie can often lead business owners to this panic-driven sprint. And a bit of a scarcity mindset can start to kick in for a lot of us. And we start to make desperate moves, like slashing prices for a holiday sale, squeezing in 1 or 10 lunch and learns, working nights and weekends, and becoming hyper-focused on the goals that we set last January. And we completely reject or neglect the strategic thinking that we need to be setting aside as we plan next year's goals. But the biggest cost of this hustle approach is to the human beings that we all are, in addition to being entrepreneurs. A lot of times, and I've done this myself, I will sacrifice my own well-being, miss out on a lot of the holiday joy that comes with the season, family, and friends. And once I get across that end of the year finish line, I don't feel accomplished. I just feel exhausted. And that means that I start the following year really in a deficit. I'm in an energy deficit, a peace deficit, and I'm just feeling drained. This is not a strategy for success. But the answer is simple. It is a complete change in mindset so that we stop seeing December 31st as the end, the finish, the rest before the next start. And instead, take a look at the entire month of December as that pre-race starting area for all of 2026. And when we just change that little bit of thinking in our mind, everything else changes. Because when you're using the hustle approach, you see Q as the end, the desperate last sprint at the end of the race. But this anti-hustle approach looks at Q4 as pregame or preseason or pre-race for all of next year. Our goal at the end of 2025 is not to finish empty, but to start January with momentum, clarity, and energy so that you're not just closing out a year, you're intentionally launching yourself into the next one. Now, this new belief will change your focus from the short-term 90-day panic to a long-term 365-day strategy to move you from frantic to calm, confident, and the designer of your own business. So, how do we change this mindset tweak into a real plan? Because it's a lot mental, but you really need to know what steps you take so that you're not just ending 2025 flat or in the hole when it comes to revenues. And mid to end of September is the perfect time to start putting together your Q4 reset. It's a simple 4-step framework to design your pregame for next year to serve not only your business, but your entire life. Step 1 is to take an intentional pause. Before you plan your next 90 days, look back at the last 3 quarters and be honest with yourself. Now, I like to block out 2 hours and just do a real simple review, looking at 3 things. One is profit. What did I offer my clients that brought in the most profit for this year? Number 2 is the process. What systems felt streamlined and easy, and which ones felt clunky and frustrating? Because that way I know what I need to double down on and what I need to make improvements on. And the third thing I like to look at as I review the first 3 quarters of this year is peace. Which clients were a joy to work with? Which products gave me energy instead of draining it? And which clients and which projects completely drained my energy and made me not want to get out of bed in the morning? So it's not just financial, it's also about your energy, because when you are high energy and you love what you do, the profits are going to come a lot easier. The goal of this simple 3-step pause is to get a clear, whole picture of the first 3 quarters of 2025. Now, the second step in our anti-hustle Q4 framework is to remove the pieces that don't fit in order to give you more peace and more profit. So look at the review that you just completed, because the next step is to really get strategic about what you're going to take away. What can you stop doing that isn't making you a profit anyway, or that is completely draining your energy? And while stopping to do that, it allows you to create space for more of the things that you love and more of the services that are more profitable. So, do you have a low profit service that you can just not offer next year? Do you have a client who is sucking all of the joy out of your business and really draining your team's energy, and you need to offer them a graceful exit? Are there some meetings that are a complete waste of time that can be replaced by an email that you need to make sure do not end up on your calendar in 2026? Go through and look at everything that you just sat down and reviewed and see what you can take away to make room for what is better for you in 2026. Now, the third step is that you want to identify your starting line. So you now have clarity and you have space to think. And so you need to choose what it is you're going to focus on. So instead of this long to-do list of all the things that you're going to get done in 2026, pick one goal for Q4. This is your starting line. This is your pre-game for 2026. And this goal's main purpose is to create that momentum to launch you into the best Q1 you've ever had. So instead of a chaotic new launch in Q4, trying to bring in some profits, but kind of doing it in a crazy haphazard slash the prices way, you could instead take time to fully document the core systems that you use and the steps that you take and the things that you do on repeat every day that really aren't moving the needle in your business but need to get done, and hire a VA for January. Can't hire a VA if you're not able to clearly outline for them what their role is, what you need them to do, and how you like it done. Or maybe you can sit down and create a premium experience for your top clients. If you haven't heard it before, there are 10% of your clients who you already love that are willing to spend 10 times more than they're spending with you now. You just need to create the offer that they're looking for to solve the problem that they're looking to solve now. Not only does that start you out with some great profits for next year, and let's be honest, you could start selling those in Q4 of this year, but you can also gather some really great testimonials as you end 2025 and start 2026. Now, step 4 is heavy on the anti-hustle. Before you put anything else on your calendar for the rest of 2025, you need to start blocking out some non-negotiable time for yourself. Maybe you take a holiday vacation, you want to do a couple long weekends, your kids have school events, concerts, sports. You put those things on your calendar first and then build your Q4 work around your life instead of the other way around. That is what will guarantee that you launch into 2026 restored and re-energized instead of empty and exhausted. So, a reminder, success in Q4 is not about being the most busy, most exhausted person that shows up to the New Year's Eve party. It's about being the most prepared person for January 1st. And this 4-step plan is a great place to start to make it happen. It's going to allow you for simple business growth as we finish out the year and allow for the human that is behind your brand to feel refreshed and re-energized. I want you to finish 2025 with a sense of calm and accomplishment and enter 2026 with a clear strategic plan that is going to make it the best year you've ever had. Because this type of intentional planning can be tough to do on your own. Sometimes if you don't have time blocked out with somebody else, it's really easy to allow that time to be overtaken by clients and work and things that feel more important. So if you want someone to walk you through a Q4 reset and help you find clarity on what to remove and what to focus on, please book a free strategy session with me. I have a lot of worksheets and stuff that I can go through with you that can help you figure out which services are profitable, which ones can be condensed or removed, and what is really going to set you up for a fantastic 2026. You can find the link for this strategy session in the show notes below. But I have a challenge for you before you end the episode. This week, schedule time for an intentional pause. Put 2 hours on your calendar that won't be overtaken by anything else, no matter what. And if you're not going to do it this week, do it next week. Review the first 3 quarters of your year through the lens of profit, process, and peace, and take one action to give you that next step towards reclaiming your peace in Q4. You don't have to follow the hustle playbook as we end the year. You can choose a better, more peaceful way and treat Q4 as the pregame for an amazing 2026. Until next time, keep leading with integrity, serving with heart, and building a business that truly sustains you.